Most people have heard of the famous Viktor Frankl quote: between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Now, I completely agree with what Viktor Frankl is saying, but I want to dig a bit deeper into the word response, because the reality is your brain has an instant automatic response to everything that's happening around you. That automatic response happens whether you like it or not. You can't turn it off. You can't decide to have it later. That instant automatic response fires in less than a second, and it happens without any conscious intention, effort, or control on your part. So here's where I think your power really lies. It's not in the space between stimulus and response. It's in the space between your automatic response and your deliberate response. So your power doesn't lie here in the space between stimulus and response. It lies here in the space between your automatic response and your deliberate response. Now, here's the tricky thing about your automatic responses. Your automatic responses have two parts. Your automatic brain is like the best, most sincere, most proactive team member you could ever ask for. It doesn't just tell you there's a problem. It tells you, here's a problem, and here's what we should do about it. Your automatic response is one part analysis and one part action plan, which means that when you're figuring out what your deliberate response should be, you have three possible scenarios. Scenario one, you disagree with the automatic analysis. The action plan at that point is moot because it's based on faulty analysis. Go back to the drawing board. You need to think over this whole thing again. Scenario two, you agree with the automatic analysis, but you disagree with the automatic action plan. Your rockstar teammate, your automatic brain, has raised some really good points. You agree with the gaps that it brought up, you agree with the goal that it has, but you want to take a different pathway to get there. And scenario three, you agree with the automatic analysis and you agree with the action plan. Full steam ahead. Let's go, partner. That last scenario is what it feels like to be in flow. It's what it feels like when you're fully in alignment with yourself. You're in harmony with your own signals. You're firing on all cylinders. You're doing your best work and you're enjoying the experience of being yourself. But I'm going to be honest, you and your automatic brain are not going to naturally land in flow 100% of the time, any more than you and a teammate would naturally be in sync about analyses and action plans 100% of the time. But don't worry, scenario one and scenario two, where you disagree with the analysis or you disagree with the action plan, those are not a problem. Scenario one and scenario two are your pathway to even deeper, more expansive, more resilient flow. Think about how it works when you're on a team. Being in scenario one or scenario two with a teammate isn't a problem. Recognizing that you're in scenario one or two, recognizing that you disagree on the analysis or the action plan, and then having an open, honest, I trust you and you trust me conversation about it is the pathway to being even more in sync with each other. And yes, these conversations can seem a little scary at first, but you usually end up more in sync and more aligned than you were before. You become better partners than you were before the disagreement. The same thing is true with you and your automatic brain. Finding yourself in scenario one or scenario two within yourself is not a problem. Recognizing that you're in scenario one or scenario two, recognizing that you disagree with your brain's analysis or with your brain's action plan, and then having an open, honest, I trust you and you trust me conversation about it with yourself is the pathway to even deeper flow. And the more you have these conversations with yourself, the more you will develop a sense of flow that runs deeper and more true, becomes more expansive across more areas of your life, and remains resilient even in the face of challenges. How are you supposed to have that conversation though? This is where a coach can be really helpful. A coach is a person who teaches you how to have this conversation with yourself. That is, in the simplest possible terms, what we do in coaching. And that simple thing creates massive life-altering results. Because when you learn how to have this conversation with yourself, you learn how to come back home to yourself. You find a deeper, more expansive, more resilient sense of flow. And you take creative authority over yourself, your career, and your life. That is inevitable when you are in flow. So come talk to me today and let's get started. Go to the link above and book a free coaching consult.